everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you would like to subscribe, you would be more than welcome. Today we are going to make an Alice band for Bluebell to go with her yellow dress. So I'm just starting off by making these lovely little flowers, and I'm going to crochet them. We are going to be using a 2.5mm crochet hook, which is a very small one. So I've just changed to a different thread because this is quite fluffy and you can see all the different bits in it. I was getting caught up and I don't think you got a good image of it, and I've just practiced in a couple of bits of wool, and this is a much better wool for doing it. So what we're going to do is you put your thread around your finger and you've placed it at the back, and then you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to pull that thread through your finger. Okay, and I'm just going to pull that out, and I think you should get a much better image of that. I'm going to put that around my baby finger, and then I'm going to take that one and I'm going to put it behind my index finger, and I'm going to use my middle finger and my thumb to hold the end of it there. Okay, and you don't want to hold it tightly, you want it reasonably loose, okay, because what you're aiming for is each stitch to be the same size as that crochet hook there. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to pull it through, and that's 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then you're going to take your hook and you're going to do a slip stitch into that very first stitch. You're going to put your needle in there, and then you're going to just pull that stitch through, and then you're going to pull that stitch through this one as well. Okay, and if I just pull that loose a minute, you will be able to see that in here is a little hole. Okay, just put my needle in so you can see it. My hook in there, so there's a little hole in that center, and this is the hole we're going to work off here. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we are going to chain 3, so just exactly the same as we've just done. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to put our yarn around our crochet hook just once like that. And then we're going to bring it back in and we're going to put it into that center hole in the middle there, and then we're going to take it and we're going to grab onto it on the back and pull it out. Okay, so you've got 3 pieces on your needle, and we're going to take this piece here and we're going to go through the first 2. Okay, and then we're going to go through the second 2. Alright, so can you see? You've got a piece there which is your chain 3, and then you've got and I think this is a double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to chain 3 more. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to take those pieces and we're going to go into the hole in the center of that circle we made right in the beginning, and we're going to take our thread and we're going to pull it through. And now instead of putting it up through here now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this little piece of thread here, this one, and we're going to pull it through that other one, and that is called a slip stitch, and that will give you your first petal. So this is your first petal here. Okay, right, so now we're going to do chain 3 again. So that's your first one, and we're just going to repeat this over and over. So we're going to do 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and then we're going to take the yarn and put it over our crochet hook. We're going to put it back into that hole in the center. We're going to come out through. Oops, I forgot something else. You come out through. Okay, and we're going to do, let's just get me a bit more cut thread. We're going to do 1 through the first 2, and then through the second 2. And if you notice that it's come off, just pop your thing back in. Sometimes, because look, we've got different, can you see there's 3 pieces of thread there? Sometimes one might come off, so you want to make sure you've got all 3. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1, 2 and 3. There you go. Okay, And then we're going to take that and we're going to put it back into the hole at the centre. Put your thread around, and we don't want to grab hold of it, you want to take it there and pull it through your stitch. So now, as you can see, here's your hole where your flower, the centre of your flower is going to be, and you've got one petal and 2 petals. Now you could just take that off now and join those 2 pieces together and make a little heart if you just wanted a heart shape, okay? But we're going to carry on and we're going to do it just as we've done before, but I will speed up a bit. So I'm going to do chain 1, chain 2, chain 3, yarn over, back into that hole at the centre, through the 2 and through the next 2, okay? And then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, back into the hole in the centre again, slip it in, and we're going to do that slip stitch. We're going to slip it through the other stitch. There you go. Sorry, the battery just cut out. Okay, so we're on our 3rd one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, sorry, 4th one, over the top of the hook, place it in through the centre, take it out, go around the hook, pull it through the 2, oops, dropped it, sorry, do that again, put it in through the centre, oh, let's do it again, sorry, put it over the hook, into the centre, through, go through the 2 and go through the 1, okay, the other 2, sorry, and then 1, 2, 3, oh, don't put it over the hook now, and you're going to go back into that hole in the centre, grab the thread and pull it through on a slip stitch like that, okay, so now you've got 4, so the last one. And now if you wanted to, you could just make this works as a shamrocky type thing, and you can put a little few stitches down the bottom, doing a chain there and then a chain up, and then you'll just and join it there, and then you'd have a shamrock shape. But we're just going to carry on and finish off this as our flower. So we're just going to do 1, 2 and 3, okay, yarn over, put it in through that centre, take it from the back and pull it through, and then you're going to go through 2 and then through the last 2, and then we're going to do, sorry, and then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, okay, let's just put my thread. Okay, and then we're going to put it right into the back of that hole. And you're going to bring it out like that, okay, and then you're going to take this outside one and we're going to pull it through the back one for your slip stitch, okay, and then what you're going to do now is pull this out, okay, and that should come out a nice peak piece. And what you're going to do, I don't know where that's come from, pull that piece out nice and big, and we're going to place our whole ball of yarn through it, and we're going to pull it nice and tight, and this will fasten it, okay, so there, make sure it's nice and tight, you have your little flower, and I've got a bit of that picked up, so I'll just pull that out. Now what I like to do is to take my 2 ends into the back here, okay, and I'm going to stitch them both in there. So I'm just going to grab a yarn needle. Okay, so this is a yarn needle. Alright, can you see it? There we go. Okay, and we're going to stitch both of these pieces in. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch it in through. So I'm just going to stitch it into the back like that, and I'm going to go in a couple of times, okay. Okay, and then I'll do exactly the same with the other one there, and then what you want to do is make sure you don't cut it, if you're going to use it, you might want to use this to stitch it onto your garment, especially if you're using something wool, like a cardigan or something like that. But if you're doing something like a dress or something, you'll want to do that with just cotton and sew it onto a dress or something like, which is not made out of wool. So there you go, there's your little flower. So I just have blue bill here, and I'm just going to measure the piece of elastic, and it's just a piece of elastic I got into Poundland, and I'm just going to pop it on her head, and I just want it just slightly pulled. Okay, I don't want it too tight, so it's just slightly pulled. I'm just going to cut it there, just above. Let's make sure I don't cut any of her hair. I'm just going to cut it there like that. Now, you can either tie a knot in it, like that, and just tie a double knot in it, but I'm just going to stitch mine across. So I have the flower here. I'm just going to come in the back with a couple of stitches. I put a knot in the end of this cotton. Just going to do a couple of stitches just to hold that in place, and then I'm going to come in. I'm using isocord, and as you know, isocord tangles a lot. Just pull that through, right? Okay. Just going to come in the top, on the outs, on the top, on the one which on my op side. You can choose which one you prefer better, and I'm going to place my needle right the way through the center of my little rose, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to pull it through just like that, and I'm going to go into the other side there, and I probably want to do about 5 or 6 stitches in there just to hold that in place, and then knot it off. Okay, so I've got it all stitched on like that, and I've got these 2 long pieces. Now if you wanted to, you could just take this now and tie this onto your hairband, but I'm going to just chop mine off because I've sewed both of those in, so they're not coming off at all. I sewed them in, and then I tied a double knot as well, so that they just won't come off no matter what. And I'm going to now put on my flower onto my headband, and this one's going to go right in the center. Now what you can do to hide away that piece is place that right on the top like that, and that'll hide away that yucky bit of elastic. So I'm just going to put that in there and do about 10 stitches probably with this, because this is where it's going to get pulled if you have a child who wants to play with it. Oh, and be careful, because look, can you see my thread went right across the top of my flower, and I don't want that happening. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch this in, cover up all my yucky bits of elastic where it joins, like that, and I shall put plenty of stitches in there just to hold that in place, and I shall do the same with the other 2, and I will come back once I've done it. So here she is, and here is the headband. Okay, I think I could probably, if I'd stitched them a bit closer together, I think it would look better, but I'm quite pleased with it. You could take one of those flowers if you didn't like the fussiness of the dress, and have just one of those flowers like that on the dress there. Just here would be nice, or on the base of the skirt, something like that. The other thing you could do is take some of this green ribbon and have it so that it's popping out there, so it looks like it's got some leaves on it. But I'm quite pleased with the way it's turned out. It looks really nice. I hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.